Welcome to Mission Evolution Radio Show with Gwilda Wiyaka, bringing together today's leading experts to uncover ever-deepening spiritual truths and the latest scientific developments in support of the evolution of humankind. For more information on Mission Evolution Radio with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit www.missionevolution.org. And now, here's the host of Mission Evolution, Miss Gwilda Wiyaka.
Hello, dear friends, and welcome to Mission Evolution Radio Show, where we share innovative thoughts and explore deepening truth in support of the path to unity and enlightenment. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. This hour we'll be looking at optimum hydration as a key to evolution. Spiritual evolution is much like dying, except you get to take your body along. When we physically die, the spirit leaves the body and climbs the frequency ladder, transitioning from the frequency of physicality to that of spirit. Along the way, we often revisit traumatic points in our life that compromised our frequency. The steps following that process necessitate collecting ourselves from the past, letting go, detoxifying, and moving on. When evolving while still incarnate, not only our spirit, but our entire mental, emotional, and physical bodies have to go through the collection and detoxification process. This is very challenging. How can we support our physical body during the changes required to accommodate the higher frequency demanded by the evolutionary process? Roughly 60% of our bodies are made of water. In this episode, we'll examine the importance of hydration and how it can support the evolutionary process. With us to explore the underestimated importance of water is Dr. Dana Cohen, author of Quench, Beat Fatigue, Drop Weight, and Heal Your Body through the new science of quantum hydration. Dana is a nationally renowned internal and integrative medical specialist whose multi-disciplinary approach has helped treat thousands of patients by using a variety of conventional and contemporary therapies. In practice for nearly 2 decades, Cohen trained under the late Dr. Robert Atkins and Dr. Ronald L. Hoffman, founder of the Hoffman Center in New York City. Cohen was certified by the American Board of Internal Medicine and was appointed to the Board of Directors of the American College for the Advancement of Medicine, where she currently serves as advisor to the Board of Directors and the advisor to the Education Committee. Her website, drdanacohen.com. Dana, thanks so much for joining us on Mission Evolution.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
I'm really excited. We should have a good time with this one. I recently came over an interesting statistic. 75% of children's body is water, an adult is 60%, and the older people are 50%. Yeah. Is this decrease in hydration our design, or could we be looking at a contributing factor to aging?
I very strongly believe it's a contributing factor to aging. Yeah, I think we can do better.
What causes hydration like that? Why do we dehydrate as we
Dehydration. It's a good question. I think, I wish I had that answer. I don't know. If we had that answer, God, I'd be a gazillionaire. But I think it is our environments, use and abuse, hormones decline. Who knows? There's probably lots of medications that we take, the food that we eat. Probably all are contributing factors.
Do you think that dehydration is cumulative?
Do I think that dehydration is cumulative? I do. Although I definitely think it's cumulative, but although I do think that we can improve it fairly quickly. By eating better, eating our food. We'll talk a little bit about that. Eating our hydration, I mean. So yeah, I do, but I do think it's cumulative over time, and the daily assaults that happen to our cells from being this sort of chronically low-grade dehydrated can lead to chronic disease and illness. Yes.
As a culture, we've become increasingly inactive. Does lack of movement play a role in dehydration?
Absolutely. So one of the things in the book that we talk about is a fairly recent discovery by this brilliant hand surgeon, Dr. Guimbarto. And I highly recommend just looking up some of his videos on YouTube. He was the first person who ever put a camera under living skin of the skin of a living person, a microscopic camera, and looked at living fascia. Meaning we've never studied, so fascia also is the connective tissue in our body, the spongy connective tissue that connects everything. It envelops all our cells, all our organs. And fascia had only ever been looked at before on dried, desiccated cadavers. And it was sort of thrown aside, never really worried about. What we see from this work of Dr. Guimberto is that fascia is a delivery system for hydration, and which is mind-boggling and mind-blowing to me, because we've always known that hydration, fluid gets moved via blood and lymph. Now we know this is a whole new hydration delivery system, and if we're sitting down all day, we're squelching that delivery system of water to get to other parts of our body. So fascia acts as a hydraulic pump, and the idea of we all know you have to move your joints in order to lubricate them. Now we really understand why.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
How long ago was that discovered?
Not that long ago. I think it was around 2006, maybe, when he did his first video. Around there. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So we can sit here and drink water all day, but the key is if we're sitting, it's not going to be moving very well.
No, and in fact, you're squelching it down. It's sitting, you're squelching that delivery. It's stopping it from being moved to your cells. That's also what sort of differentiates the book from a lot of from regular hydration. It's not about drinking more water. We're going to talk about eating your water, but it's the second part of hydration is you have to move, and the movement is there. We call them micro movements. So it literally can be anything from looking up to the sky and bending your neck up and down. That's a micro movement. You're getting fluid in and out of your brain. A really good thing to do maybe first thing in the morning when you wake up after you have detoxified all night in your sleep, because that's when we detoxify. So after you're sleeping all night, first thing when you wake up in the morning, just move your head up and down. You're getting that fluid in and out. That you want to clear out that the dirty fluid and bring in some new clean fluid. And so, yeah, micro movements are the way to go, in addition to your regular exercise.
well, I'm glad you said that. I was about to get up and do jumping jacks, so you see there's a lot of agony here. Is most of the population in a state of dehydration?
I very firmly believe that. I see a lot of patients. I have been practicing for 20 years, and even my healthy ones, even my athletes that come in, could stand to do better with hydration. I ask every patient that walks into my office, do you think you drink enough water? 99% of them say no. And those are even my ones that are so cognizant of their health and are eating and are, biohackers with their body. They're not even drinking enough water. So yes, I do think that because of our environments, because of the conditions that we're living in, these dry, between the heat and the air conditioning and the medications that we're taking and the processed food that we're eating and all the UV lights and the cell phones and the EMF, I think our environments are so much different than they were even 5 years ago, that it's just sucking the hydration out of us and out of our environment. So I really do believe that huge percentages of us are chronically low-grade dehydrated. I'm not talking about overt dehydration where you need to go to the hospital and get IV fluids. We all know what that is. That's a no-brainer. This is chronic low-grade dehydration that shows up in us in very different ways. And one of the things that I like to say is that, that afternoon fatigue or brain fog that we're all feeling sometimes, it may not be a drop in blood sugar. It could be because you're dehydrated. So it should be first line for any chronic illness or even any sort of little niggling ailment that you have. Try hydrating better first.
You mentioned something pretty interesting to me, and that's the EMFs and the electromagnetic interference that we're all walking through. Yeah. How does that affect dehydration?
Well, the sheer fact of the heat that it produces. So you put you hold your cell phone even on your body or near your head. The heat of it is that, that's like a definitive, thing that can cause you to, you're raising your body temperature, you're going to lose hydration. The EMF in itself is controversial. However, there is absolutely something there, and I'm no expert on EMF, but it's something. And I think, I take precautions, and I get rid of as much EMF in my bedroom at night when I sleep as best I can. I keep my phone out of my bedroom. I keep my computer out of my bedroom. I recently found out, I know Dr. Mercola, I don't know if you follow him, he has, I think, written articles and books about EMF. And I live in New York City, and there's only 2 cities in the country that by law have to, envelope their wires so that the wires aren't emitting EMF, and it's New York and Chicago. So I happily live in one, so I don't have to turn off the electricity in my room at night. But there is something to it, and I'm not much, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but the amount of EMF exposure we have now compared to 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago, is exponential. In the trillion times more than what we used to have. It's something.
We're going to have to pick up with this on the other side of a commercial break. It is time for a short pause. Deanna and I will be back after this commercial break. You're listening to the Mission Evolution Radio Show, coming to you on the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV. Plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
We live in rapidly shifting times of extreme volatility and uncertainty. Such profound change brings a unique opportunity for the evolution of consciousness. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, host of Mission Evolution Radio Show, a program that explores the latest scientific developments and deepening spiritual truths supporting human evolution. Join me on xzbn.net, where I interview leading experts in science, physics, medicine, spirituality, and more. By applying divergent viewpoints to leading-edge topics, we uncover expansive and evolutionary truth to assist you on your path to enlightenment. More information and past episodes are available at missionevolution.org. Welcome back. This is Mission Evolution Radio, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. Remember, past episodes are available on our website, missionevolution.org. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka, and our guest this hour is Dr. Dana Cohen. Her website, drdanacohen.com. Dana, if we're all in a state of dehydration, why don't we feel thirsty?
Why don't we feel thirsty? Well, a lot of us have been conditioned to ignore our thirst or override it. But this is also, thirst in this low-grade chronic dehydration that I'm talking about. Thirst is not your first thing that's going to go. When you're thirsty, you're already pretty dehydrated. So it's not quite the first thing that we look at. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I really believe that fatigue or that brain fog is an even earlier sign that you're a little bit dehydrated.
Why does dehydration make us fatigued?
Why does it make us fatigued? So hydration it's fuel. It's fuel for our cells. It is also the basis of all homeostasis in our cells. So that fatigue is just a signal that our cells are needing energy, and water is really a fuel. Water is how electricity gets in and around our bodies. So there's lots of different reasons for it, but those are some big ones.
So if water is the way electricity gets around our bodies, this takes us back to the EMFs. And it also takes us into, as the frequency shifts on the planet, we have to have enough water in our bodies to accommodate the conduction of the added EMFs or the added frequency on the planet. Am I on deck there?
I believe so. I mean, I can't, once again, I'm not an expert in EMFs. I'm not even an expert in electrical chemistry and that kind of thing. But yes, I honestly do believe that there is that is an absolute.
I know when you go into biofeedback, they want you well hydrated so they get clearer readings.
Yeah.
How can hydration aid weight loss?
Well, there's quite a few studies, and we quote them in the book. One of the ones that really stick out in my mind is they did a study, a double-blind placebo-controlled study, where they took patients and put them both on diets, and the patients that drank 8 ounces of water before every meal lost more weight than the patients who didn't do that. And then there was another study where patients, they gave them a specific amount of water, and doing nothing else over the course of a year lost a significant amount of weight. So there's very formal studies. I think a lot of it has to do with, and we do recommend that in the book, drink a big glass of water before every meal for a couple reasons. So it fills you up. Everybody says, you may not be hungry, you may be thirsty, so try drinking water. And I think there is real truth to that as well. So try drinking water before you reach for food if you think you're hungry. That's a known thing, and I think that is very grounded in truth. So good things to try.
What role does water play in the detoxification process?
Okay. So we talked about sleep earlier. This was something, when I delved into this research, I found really, really fascinating. It is during sleep is when our bodies detoxify. That is the majority of the time where our cells go into high gear and we detoxify. Our brains detoxify too, and you need to be well hydrated in order for those functions to take place. They can't take place if you're dehydrated. Your liver, it's everything is moved through the body. So there is, if you're not hydrated well enough, you're not detoxifying well enough. And it's really as simple as that.
So water is a universal solvent.
Yes.
As it goes through your body, does that trait it has, does that help it collect the things that need to move on out?
Oh, for sure. For sure. We mostly detoxify through sweat, pee, and urine. I mean, urine and pooping. And if you're dehydrated, you can't do any of those functions. So, yeah, you have to be properly hydrated in order to, what's the word? Maximally detoxify.
If water is then saturated with another substance, like you brew tea or you're drinking pop, isn't that its ability to absorb the things that need to leave your body diminished?
So you're asking me if you drink pop, is that diminishing your capacity to detoxify? Is that the question?
No, a lot of people will say, "Well, I drink water. I get it in my tea, and my coffee, and my pop."
Yeah.
But if it's already bound up with the chemicals of the pop or the tea or the coffee, does that reduce the water's ability to detoxify the body?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. Not necessarily, not as much as we think. Coffee and tea. Under coffee specifically, if you're drinking less than 4 cups a day, it's actually not a diuretic as people would think. You're definitely getting that water. You're getting hydration from it. Now, that's not to say that I want you not drinking any water, because I still think water is really important, and it's definitely the better way to go. But there's an even better way to go, which I'll talk about in 1 second. But coffee, tea, pop, your body has to then, the sugar and whatever chemicals are in, I'm assuming you're meaning soda pop.
Yes.
Whatever chemicals in that, your body has to then work to get rid of that. But there is still, you are getting hydration from that. Our bodies are amazing machines, and they pull out the hydration that it needs from it. So what is interesting and new about the book, and this is not just another book about, we all know we have to drink more water. It's actually quite different. There fairly recently has been a mind-blowing research and published research on a new phase of water that's been identified. So we all know that water exists as liquid, ice, and vapor, right? Now there is a fourth phase of water that's identified, and it's a gel phase of water. It's known as many different things. We call it gel in the water, but it's also known as structured water. And a lot of the book is based on the research by Dr. Gerald Pollack, who's out of Seattle. He's a very world-renowned, well-respected water scientist, and it is not 100% accepted by everybody in the field. However, he is, once again, respected, and mostly everybody agrees that there is some other phase of water. There's some other funny kind of water that exists out there. The interesting thing is that this gel water is the type of water that's found in our cells, and it also happens to be the type of water that's found in plants. And so when I talk about eating your water, a better way to hydrate is to eat more hydrating foods and plant-based specifically. And ideally, smoothies are the ultimate hydrating tool. So green smoothies, basically macerated or blended vegetables with water, and maybe some other hydrating things like chia seeds. I don't know if you've ever put chia seeds in fluid. It develops a gel, a gel coating around it. So it's incredible.
Your chia pudding. Mm-hmm.
Chia puddings, really hydrating. That's the kind of gel that's going to sort of sponge up liquid, get into your cells really powerfully. And I believe that one smoothie is more hydrating than the equivalent amount of two bottles of water, or two of the same amount of water. So
in your smoothies, you use water. Do you use a protein powder, or do you just pretty much stick with your vegetables and chia seeds?
I don't use protein powder in my smoothies. You can if you're going to do a meal replacement or that kind of thing. I eat a high protein diet, but the smoothies that I personally, and I don't have a problem with protein powder either, by the way, but the smoothies that I personally do are mostly blended smoothies. So vegetables, lots of greens. I'll throw some chia in there. I'll throw some lemon in there. I'll throw a little ginger in there. That's really a good sort of basic smoothie. We have over 50 smoothie recipes in there, and there's lots of fun things you can do.
It's fascinating that we're talking about yet another kind of water. And I have about half a minute left here. But what I'd like to introduce is, people say we're running out of water, but isn't water a closed system? And how does this funny water fit into the closed system?
Do you want me to answer that now or when we get back?
Yeah, we've got about a minute.
Okay. So, I don't know about that. I don't know if we're running out of water, but we're running out of edible water. Vegetables are definitely going to be conserving on drinking ever more water. So, I think that answers that question.
So the vegetables, I don't understand. You said the vegetables are a good way of getting water when the quality is the question, or?
Well, so instead of drinking ever more bottled water, all this water on the street, if we hydrate properly and better using vegetables, we won't have to drink as much water as we're thinking about. So, that's the idea. One smoothie is equivalent to 2 bottles of water. So there is a little bit of water in that smoothie, but it's not the same amount as 2 bottles of water. So you're going to be conserving water.
Perfect. Well, we're going to have to take that promised break. Okay. Dana and I will return to our discussion on the other side of this break, so you stay right there. This is the Mission Evolution Radio Show on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond, you're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
Welcome back. This is Mission Evolution Radio Show, www.missionevolution.org, bringing the latest tools and information to support the path to enlightenment. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our special guest this hour is Dr. Dana Cohen. Her website, danacohen.com. So, Dana, we were getting into the different kinds of water there are and we've established actually so far two things that most people probably don't know. One is you can probably get more hydration or better hydration by eating enough vegetables, and two, by moving. What's another thing you can do
to better hydrate? Well, we talked a little bit about cleaning up our environments, looking at, it's interesting. I researched about what medications have been reported to the FDA to cause overt dehydration. So literally, these are people who called the FDA to report that a medication ended up in the emergency room or dehydration was one of the side effects. And there are things like proton pump inhibitors, which is like the purple pill, Prilosec and omeprazole, aspirin. They're not necessarily, even Advil, and they're not necessarily, diuretics that are prescribed for blood pressure. So think of, and eating processed foods is another one. Those processed foods take a lot of work in our body and hydration in our body to process them. So those are, a few things that you can do. In the book, we lay out a very simple 5-day plan on how to become optimally hydrated. And it is actually quite simple. We did it that way because it's during the work week. And I'm happy to give you a couple of little rules to follow. One, we talk about front-loading your water. So my co-author, Gina Bria, is a cultural anthropologist, and she studied how desert plants hydrate and desert people hydrate. So what she had found is that they front-load their water. First thing in the morning, they drink big amounts of water. So that's something that we can all do. First thing in the morning, you wake up, have 16 ounces of water, maybe throw a little pinch of sea salt in there so you get lots of nice minerals in there, a little squeeze of a lemon, more minerals. Great way to start your day. If you one rule. The other rule we talked about, a glass of water before every meal. And then the third thing, a simple thing, is have one green smoothie a day. Just make it a part of your day. We recommend 2 in the 5-day plan, and we also recommend some micro movements all throughout the day, very simple things. You need to get up from your desk every couple of hours. By the way, we didn't talk about, we're meant to urinate every 2 or 3 hours. That's what our bodies are meant to do. So I don't know about you, but I know there have been times I've sat at my desk for 8 hours straight, not once get up to pee. There's a problem, and so we are meant to get up every 2 or 3 hours, go to the bathroom, come back, and so a couple things it's good for. It makes you get up and move, but then you also know you're better hydrated.
What are the symptoms of dehydration that we need to be watching for?
Yeah. So we talked about thirst, not the first symptom. The big ones I love to talk about are the fatigue and the brain fog. So we already talked about those. Other things, big thing, you want to look at your urine output and your urine color. You want your urine to be pale yellow. You don't want it to be dark, bright, concentrated orange or yellow or dark yellow, unless you're taking a B vitamin. Somebody reminded me of this recently. I don't, if you've ever taken B vitamins, your urine turns a very strong yellow from that. So it's hard to follow. But you want your urine, and you want a good output. I know when I only pee a little bit, and I'm not walking to the bathroom every 2 or 3 hours, I'm not drinking enough. Another good one is you can pinch the top of your hand, make like a tent with the skin, and if it doesn't bounce back, you're dry, you're dehydrated. The things we all know about dry skin, chapped lips, Those are some big ones.
So what illnesses are linked to dehydration?
So chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. There's actually research on diabetes, and from a cellular level, this chronic low-grade dehydration can sort of impact and insult your cells so much every day, long term, that it's a risk factor for type 2 diabetes. And also because of that, there's some information in the book that is also a risk factor for Alzheimer's. So for me, this is sort of the mother of all epidemics, and it should be first-line therapy for everyone, no matter what you're feeling. If you are overtly ill, very, can't move, and I lay out a lot of case studies in the book from, fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue. I had a patient that I talk about in the book. She walked into my office, couldn't move. She was so sick and she was young. She was probably 50. And she was drinking alcohol every night to sort of cope with the pain that she was feeling. And my first visit with the patient is always to collect a history, do all my testing. I very rarely make any recommendations on that first visit. And then we wait, until all the blood work comes back. And then I see them follow up 3 weeks later to go over everything and create a plan. So I took her history. In that 3 weeks time, I said, you know what, I want you to just follow this plan. And I gave her the Quench plan. And it's basically everything we laid out. Better foods, better hydrating. She came back 3 weeks later, and it wasn't, it's not, once again, it's not very difficult. But she came back 3 weeks later, literally jumping up and down in my office saying, I feel so much better. And all it was changing her diet a little bit and giving her proper hydration.
That's pretty much amazing. Something so simple.
Yeah, and then a year went by. I saw her throughout the year. After a year, she was not drinking at all. I mean, she had a drinking problem, but it was, as she started to feel better, it was the impetus she needed to then really change her life. She just needed that little, stone in the right direction to get her going, and she's doing phenomenal.
What's the relationship between dehydration and allergies?
I'm not 100% sure. There's a huge relationship. There's probably something. I haven't researched it. We do talk about food allergies in the book because I think there's a relationship between food allergies. And when I say food allergies, I really mean food sensitivities, which is different than a true sort of throat closing anaphylactic reaction to peanuts or something. Food sensitivities are a really big part of my practice, and we're talking about chronic disease here. So when I talk about chronic disease, another thing that I always look for is there a food sensitivity that's sort of igniting all of this? So the only other relationship I can think of is if you're taking antihistamines. We absolutely know that those are dehydrating. I don't know if you've ever taken a Benadryl, but I wake up in the morning and I can't open my mouth because my lips are so dry and cracked, and that. But to really put the relationship, that I think that's the relationship that I lay out for you in the book. It's all about chronic illness. And if you have some underlying chronic illness or even just a chronic pain, you want to look at food sensitivities. And the best way to look at them is to do an elimination diet where you eliminate, as many foods as that can cause sensitivities for a period of time, and then reintroduce them methodically and see what happens to your body. It's imperative.
Is there any evidence that actually dehydration can cause food sensitivities because you're not able to detox well enough?
It's a great thought. I haven't come across it. I actually just as before you asked me that, I wrote it down. I'm going to look into that. I don't think there is, and I think I would have come across it, but that's not to say it's logical.
What about water quality? We hear a lot of hype about, well, even the bottled water isn't good because it's leached the chemicals out of the plastic, and we've got formaldehyde and chlorine. And I do know from water studies that there's a known carcinogen created when chlorine hits organic material that doesn't leave the water as the chlorine does.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about water quality?
It's a huge issue. It's a huge issue. I thank God I live in New York where our water is really good. And water quality, I wish I had the big answers for this. I have a couple of things that I talk about. So, first of all, the best thing, there is a website called www.findaspring.com. So you could locate a natural spring source of water, go there and bottle your own. I mean, it seems like a lot of work, but it is so worth it. The other thing is the Environmental Working Group, EWG.org, has a list of filters for every sort of, what you can afford to the grand, poobah of filters. I do not recommend, I don't hype any products in my book, but those are two good sources or resources that you can go to help find water. The bottled water is, let alone the water is probably not good because of the plastics. What it's doing to our oceans is just mind-blowing and mind-boggling and so scary, and we need to all start doing something about it. And we need to get those bottles out of our hands. And it makes you wonder, why are our kids 8 years old going into puberty at such a young age? Is it the xenoestrogens that they're getting from the plastics? I think there's a relationship there, and we need to make it stop. And thank God more and more people are really getting on the bandwagon with this.
Yeah, that's deplorable. The plastic issue. We're going to have to take another pause. Dana and I will return shortly, so don't you dare go away. You're listening to the Mission Evolution Radio Show on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howell expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades, there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
The concept of a new age has been around since the late 19th century, yet much of its original meaning has been lost. What exactly is the new age? Is it a religion, a collection of obscure esoteric practices, a series of doomsday predictions, or an astrological event? The New Age Chronicles is a unique, complementary publication bringing reason and grounded information to separate fact from fiction. chock full of valuable information to support you as we make the monumental shift into the new era. You won't want to miss a single innovative issue. The New Age Chronicles newspaper is coming soon to www.newagechronicles.com. Welcome back. This is Mission Evolution Radio Show, www.missionevolution.org, bringing the latest developments in an evolving world. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. I always love suggestions from my listeners. Email me at info@missionevolution.org to propose a topic or a guest that's on your mind. I'm sure we'll all enjoy them. Our guest this hour is Dr. Dana Cohen. Her website, drdanacohen.com. So we were talking about the huge problem that plastics are causing in our ocean and in our waterways, well, everywhere for that matter. And yet, we drink water out of bottles thinking we're doing ourselves a favor, but you were telling me there's hormones in the plastic. Does that exist in the ones that they're crowing don't?
Wait, ask me that question again. I'm sorry, I missed the last word.
Everybody's saying, well, there's some plastics, they're selling now that don't leach this. Is that factual, or do they do their own criminal thing?
It's it makes me wonder. The BPA-free plastics. I don't think we know enough about it yet to say that it's safe. Glass is the way to go. I don't think BPA plastic is still 100% safe. So, yeah.
How about stainless?
Yeah, stainless steel I think is good too.
Yeah, they have, and they say, okay, they give you a stainless steel cup, you're in good shape, right? And then they give you a plastic straw to slurp it through.
Yes. It's funny, I'm making up stainless steel straws, reusable straws. I was in actually a smoothie place the other day, a little juice place, and I was ordering something, and the woman who had ordered next to me was screaming at the guy, no, wait, don't put the straw in it. And she pulls out of her purse. She has like a little baggie, like a beautiful velvet bag that she pulls out a reusable straw. And I was like, oh my God, I love that. It was beautiful. So I'm gonna create some stainless steel reusable straws and give them away.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we have to come up with new solutions because this has become such a huge problem almost overnight, the plastic pollution, hasn't it?
Well, I don't think it's overnight. I think it's a long time coming, and we're just addressing it now. And it's too late. Like we should have done this 50 years ago.
Well, I hate to say it's too late. I like to be the one the cup is half full.
Yes, and we're finding out new ways to clean the waters and get our oceans clean. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
But it's definitely we're behind the power curve. That's for sure.
Yes.
So would you mind sharing how being long-term dehydration affects the brain?
So brain fog is our first. We talked about a lot of these things. Brain fog is definitely one of them. That's a known, non-controversial. We all know that if you're slightly dehydrated, your first thing that goes is your ability to think clearly. I talk a lot.
I guess what I was trying to get at is long-term dehydration of the brain. Is there a point of no return there, and what's that like?
Well, with Alzheimer's, there is a point of no return. I never say never, though, in any way, even in my very sick patients, because medicine is constantly evolving, and we are constantly learning. And if anybody thinks we know it all, they are completely wrong, because even just the idea that, oh my God, there's a fourth phase of water discovered, that's mind-blowing. Like, you would think water is the simplest molecule. We knew everything about it. When I started delving into this research, I couldn't believe how much we don't know about this very simple water molecule. So yeah, I never say never as far as a point of no return, but long term, I mean, it's called aging. And I think that once again, proper hydration, optimal hydration is your first lifestyle change that you should take on before you do anything, before you do even take on a diet. Make sure you're hydrating properly, and then this should be the first start in any new lifestyle thing that you take on.
I've got a curiosity here, and I'm ignorant on it, so you're really going to have to help me. I've lived by the ocean, and right now I'm living in the high desert in Colorado. I'm about 7,500 feet, and it's desert, right? And it feels to me like there's a certain hydration that goes on from the air to your skin. Is that accurate? And if so, how do we compensate when we're in a desert?
Yeah. So my co-author is really the one who should be answering this. She's the anthropologist. But, we look at anthropological evidence, and those desert people, some of the things that they would do, they literally would wear robes, around their heads and create humidity tents, which is very interesting. I mean, there are certain things that you can do like that, keeping moist, keeping well hydrated. There are all the things that we're talking about. Drinking better, more efficiently, would be the ways to do it. It's funny. I was at a hotel in Arizona, and I loved this. In the hotel lobby, they had infused waters, and so they're in essence creating gel water. One of the waters that they had infused was prickly pear. I love prickly pear. It's delicious, but it's incredibly hydrating. It's a lot of gel water in it, and it creates gel water. So and then the other one was maybe some citrus fruits infused in the water. So they understand how to hydrate better than, because they live there. They live in the environment. Yeah.
Right. Infusion is a wonderful thing. Would you mind describing for some of us that don't know what you're talking about, what it is, how you do it?
So very simple. You're going to cut up some, so prickly pear we talked about. One of my favorite recipes is basically prickly pear, which has a lot of seeds in it, so you may have to put it through a strainer or not. So prickly pear and lime. Literally just throw it in a glass, add water to it, and mix it up. These are just, agua fresca is another term that Mexican people use, where they're just infusing water. You could throw berries and rose petals in a water. That's a really nice. We call them beauty waters in the book. It's changing the composition of those molecules and water so that it becomes better hydrating, and it's very simple. You don't need a blender. You don't need anything. Just literally cut up the fruit and throw them in your water.
Yeah, it's pretty and delicious too.
So good.
Yeah. So this show is about evolution. What role do you see water and hydration playing in our ability to evolve to our optimum expression?
Okay, so I think becoming optimally hydrated is going to extend our lives. Not only extend our lives, but I really think that we're going to have better lives, living, moving freer, thinking clearer, just overall being healthier. And I think it is, once again, the first line to anything you do to improve your health. You need to make sure that you're optimally hydrated. And it's not about drinking so much water or even much more water. It's about changing, eating more hydrating foods, and moving. And there's lots of stuff in the book that can really help you get there. And it's not difficult. This book was written for the people, not for the, the militant biohackers. This is for everybody.
You mentioned high need populations. What are those?
Well, the big thing is the elderly. That's how actually my co-author and I got together. Gina was telling me about her mother who was in a nursing home suffering from overt dehydration because, for lots of reasons. They can't get to the water. They're also afraid to have to get up and pee because it hurts for them to walk, or they can't walk, So for lots of reasons, that's a known horrible problem in many nursing homes and assisted living facilities. And so we come up with some very simple ideas how to do that. One is to throw some chia seeds in water. You're going to hydrate better. You're going to hold on to that hydration better as well. So the elderly population is a high need. Children are a high need. Children can become very quickly dehydrated if, we know this because they don't have a lot of reserve. And then the third are athletes and people who exercise a lot. Those are high need people that need to do things a little bit better and differently, and not necessarily drink more water. And the athletic population, there's so much research about, what are the proper sports drinks to drink and that kind of thing. But those sports drinks that are loaded with sugar and chemicals are not the best way to do it. You can there are some great ones out there, but we're talking about the ones that are teal in color. That can't be good for you.
Yeah. So it's like it takes water to detox all the stuff that's coming in those sports drinks, which is diminishing returns from the water that you get out of them.
Yeah, and most of us are not elite athletes where we need all that sugar. We need some sugar to replenish, but those elite athletes that are doing endurance training and that kind of thing, they definitely need more sugar. So the sports drinks that you see on the shelves are not great. We include in the book a do-it-yourself sports drink that's just made from natural honey, and it's simple, it's easy. That is by far the best way to go.
Mm. Well, something as simple as water, this has been very eye-opening, and I love the idea of the gel water.
Yes, well, it's a very real thing, and there's tons of research on it, and it's incredible, exciting research.
Yeah, is there independent studies going on the gel water now?
Oh yeah, so Dr. Gerald Pollack, he is the researcher who has pioneered this research, and now
Perfect.
there's research all over.
It's hard to believe, but we're out of time. Dana, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Our guest this hour has been nationally renowned internal and integrative medicine specialist, Dr. Dana Cohen. Her book is entitled Quench, Beat Fatigue, Drop Weight, and Heal Your Body Through the New Science of Optimum Hydration. Her website, drdanacohen.com. Remember to join our email family to stay abreast of all the exciting new things we have coming up at missionevolution.org. This has been Mission Evolution Radio Show with Gwilda Wiyaka on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Join us next time as the mission continues to bring information, resources, and support to an evolving world.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.